In the middle of the 12th century, in a small village in eastern England, something quietly unexplainable occurred. There was no announcement, no spectacle, no record of a crowd gathering in anticipation. It began, as many strange things do, during ordinary work. Farmers were tending their fields near a place called Woolpit, a village named for the deep pits once dug there to trap wolves. The land was familiar. Every hill and path was known. And then, from one of the pits, 2 children appeared. They were small. They were frightened, and their skin was green, not bruised, not stained. Green in a way no one present had ever seen. The children, a boy and a girl, stood silently at the edge of the field. Their clothes were unfamiliar, cut in a style that did not belong to the village or any nearby town. The fabric was strange, the stitching unusual. They spoke, but no one understood their words. The farmer stared. The children cried. Eventually, they were taken into the village and brought to the home of a local landowner, Sir Richard de Calne. There they were given food. They refused all of it. Bread, meat, fruit. Each offering was pushed away. The children grew weaker by the hour, yet still they would not eat. Only when fresh green beans were brought did they react. They seized them eagerly, tearing open the pods and eating the raw beans inside. For days, this was all they would consume. Slowly, their strength returned. The villagers watched carefully. Word spread. Visitors came to see the children, whose skin bore an unnatural hue. Some whispered prayers. Others wondered whether they were cursed. No one could say where they had come from. The children spoke no known language. They could not explain themselves. When questioned, they only shook their heads or cried. Time passed. As weeks turned into months, their diet expanded. Other foods were introduced, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, the green color of their skin began to fade. It did not vanish suddenly. It softened, until one day it was gone. The boy, however, did not survive long enough to see it fully disappear. Shortly after the children began eating more varied food, he fell ill and died. The girl lived, and in time she learned to speak. Through her words, the villagers finally heard a story, one that raised more questions than it answered. She said that she and her brother came from a place called the Land of St. Martin. It was a world, she explained, where the sun never shone brightly. A perpetual twilight hung over everything. There were no clear days, only a dim greenish light. The people there all had green skin. They lived quietly. They raised animals. They followed customs unfamiliar to the villagers of Woolpit. The girls spoke of rivers, of fields, of a land divided by a wide stream. One day, while tending their father's livestock, the children followed the animals into a cave. Inside, there was a sound, a ringing like bells. They walked toward it. And then, suddenly, they were no longer in their own world. They emerged into bright sunlight, a place so overwhelming that they were blinded and afraid. Before they could return, they were discovered by the farmers. That was all she could say. She did not know how the cave worked. She did not know where it led. She only knew that her home was gone. The girl eventually grew older. She adapted to village life. She learned English. Later records suggest she married and lived an ordinary life, but she was remembered as strange in temperament, quiet, distant, as though part of her attention remained fixed on a place no one else could see. The story did not disappear. It was recorded by 2 respected chroniclers of the time, William of Newburgh and Ralph of Coggeshall. These were not men known for fantasy. They documented battles, rulers, famines, and plagues. They included the Green Children among their records of real events. No explanation was offered. Centuries later, scholars would attempt to make sense of the story. Some suggested the children were suffering from chlorosis, a condition linked to malnutrition, which could give the skin a greenish tint. Others proposed that the children were Flemish refugees, foreigners hiding in the woods, speaking an unknown language. There were theories of underground communities, of symbolic folklore, of misunderstandings repeated over time, but none explained everything. Not the cave, not the Twilight Land, not the precise consistency of the accounts. What remains is a quiet record of an encounter that did not fit neatly into the world that witnessed it. Two children emerged from the earth. They did not belong. They did not understand, and they were never fully understood in return. History did not resolve their story. It simply preserved it. And in the fields near Woolpit, long after the pits were filled and the village settled into memory, the question lingered. Not loudly, not insistently, just enough to be remembered.